Merci.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, members of the committee. I'd like to begin by taking a few minutes by recognizing that I'm joining you from unceded Indigenous lands. The Kanien'kehá:ka Nation are recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters from which I'm speaking to you today. At Bell, our purpose is to advance how Canadians connect with each other and the world. To fulfill our purpose, we offer our customers access to the best networks at attractive prices, prices that are now significantly lower than in the United States. At the end of this year, Bell will have invested $23 billion since 2020 to expand our pure fiber and 5G networks. So that's $23 billion. While many other companies scaled back their investments during COVID-19, we, on the contrary, built more. Earlier this month, OpenSignal recognized us as a global leader in network speed experience. For the third year in a row, Global Wireless Solutions ranked Bell 5G Canada's fastest 5G network. And Bell's Pure Fiber Internet offers the world's best internet technology and is recognized as the fastest internet and Wi-Fi in the country. We have invested in building these networks to serve our customers not just in Montreal, Toronto, Quebec City, and Halifax, but also in places like Churchill, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Lac-Beauport, Trois-Pistoles, and Welland. Meanwhile, we remain relentlessly focused on improving the customer experience. According to the Commission for Complaints for Telecom Television Services, Bell outperformed all our competitors with a 6% reduction in the overall share of complaints. This is the 8th consecutive year that our share has decreased. We continue to improve our service and provide customers with greater flexibility through digital tools. Our award-winning MyBell app makes it easier for our customers to manage their services online. Our virtual repair tool fixes common issues from within the MyBell app. Importantly, our investments in fiber from Manitoba to Newfoundland have brought more competition to cable companies who have dominated the internet market for far too long. In Quebec, for example, we have deployed fiber to 2.7 million locations, bringing reliable fiber connectivity to customers who previously had little competitive choice.
Comes lower prices for Canadians. StatsCan's own data shows that Canadians pay much lower prices for wireless and internet today than they did just a short time ago. From 2019 to January 2024, wireless service prices declined over 47%, while internet prices dropped by almost 8%. In contrast, since 2019, Canadians have paid up to 18.5% more for all items, including gas, energy, and shelter. As prices have fallen, Bell has significantly increased how much data customers receive each month. For an average Canadian using between 5 and 7 gigs of wireless data per month, prices have fallen nearly 30%. That's $13 per month on our Virgin Plus brand since 2020. And instead of just 5 gigs of data back then, that user is now getting 10 times more, 50 gigs. In the last 5 years, wireless prices are down in Canada, more or less flat in the US, and up 24% in the UK. Today, Canadians pay less for wireless than in the US. Virgin's $34 for 50 gig plan is $7 less than a 10 gig plan on AT&T's Cricket brand. That's $7 less, but 5 times more data. On the internet side, Virgin Plus offers 300 megabits per second residential internet for $55. That same plan would cost $74 in the US. Les prix au Canada baissent et
Price declines in Canada are happening despite government-imposed spectrum costs among the highest in the world. Most recently, Canadian carriers paid the federal government $8.9 billion for 3.5 gigahertz spectrum. In Australia, carriers paid 1/10 of that amount. If government-imposed spectrum prices in Canada followed the global average, every Canadian's wireless bill would be $5 per month lower. world-leading networks, a focus on customer experience, and globally competitive prices. That is how we are delivering for Canadians.
Inflation a lot these days. Increasingly, Canadians are paying more, but feel like they're getting less. But with Bell, as the data shows, Canadians are paying less and they're getting more. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. We will now turn to Mr. Staffieri from Rogers.
Vous êtes en sourdine, monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, committee members. My name is Tony Staffieri, and I'm the President and CEO of Rogers. Thank you for the invitation today. With me is Phil Hartling, President. Lawrence.
Mr. Staffieri, I don't know if you are still, is Mr. Staffieri still connected? We've lost the video signal. Okay, we'll try to figure it out, and in the meantime, we'll move to our next witness. So, Mr. Entwistle from TELUS, the floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and honorable members. Bonjour tout le monde.
Good morning.
I will illustrate that wireless prices have decreased significantly as our telecom industry is delivering more value for Canadians. And we're doing so despite the escalating cost factors of production that our industry is experiencing. Additionally, I will emphasize the critical role our industry plays in Canada's economy and societies. First, according to StatsCan, the price of wireless services decreased 50.4% between 2018 and 2023. During that same period, average data consumption increased by 200%, according to the CRTC. Notably, during the 2023 holiday season, prices were 97% lower than 2020. Moreover, when compared to the G7 countries and Australia, Canada offers the best wireless value proposition with prices that are almost 5% lower than the average price that foreign carriers would charge for the same service. Second, as wireless prices are decreasing, the prices of other goods in Canada are increasing. Between 2018 and 2023, the cost of rent, transportation, energy, housing, and food increased between 22 and 27%. In that same period, our Canadian government confirmed that prices for wireless services declined faster than any other category of consumer goods and services. Third, as wireless prices decrease, the cost of building and operating wireless networks are rising markedly. Telecom equipment, mostly paid in US dollars, has risen over 24% from 2020 to 2023, and price increases from suppliers are accelerating. Canadian labor costs have increased 17%. Utilities and electricity have grown from 15%, whilst fuel prices have skyrocketed 54%. Furthermore, Canadian carriers are already paying the highest spectrum costs across the OECD. Over the last 10 years, carriers have paid $29 billion for spectrum licenses. Indeed, Canada's auction of 3,500 megahertz spectrum alone, so critical for 5G networks, extracted a record $9 billion from telecom operators. In contrast, in Japan and South Korea, they gave away the spectrum so that operators could concentrate their spend on deployment. In 2021 alone, these spectrum fees accounted for $100 on the annual wireless phone bill of every Canadian. Fourth, despite these cost factors in Canada being 103% higher than the G7 and Australia, we continue to invest in and operate the best quality networks in the world. TELUS has invested $259 billion in network infrastructure and operations over the past 24 years. This has contributed to Canada's wireless networks consistently ranking amongst the best globally, the best for speed, quality, user experience, and coverage, according to the OECD. The telecom sector has also rapidly advanced 5G coverage, reaching 90% of our population and continuing to grow. Next, TELUS provides low-income Canadians with highly subsidized access to vital high-speed connectivity. Through TELUS's Connecting for Good program, we offer extremely low-cost internet and wireless services to 1.1 million Canadian families and seniors that are underserved. Indeed, our industry should be a source of national pride, given it is powering Canada's digital economies and our digital societies. From 2009 to 2019, broadband connectivity enabled almost 20% of Canada's labor productivity growth. According to StatsCan and PricewaterhouseCoopers, our industry generated almost $77 billion in direct GDP for Canada in 2022 alone. Moreover, our industry supports 724,000 jobs with wages 42% higher than other service industries. At TELUS, our charitable and social support for Canadians is truly unmatched. Since 2000, we've contributed $1.7 billion in philanthropy to our communities and citizens in need. This includes volunteering 2.2 million days of service, more than any other company in the world. And through TELUS Health and TELUS Agriculture, we are leveraging broadband technologies to answer society's most pressing challenges in healthcare transformation and food security. Importantly, we're also supporting the prosperity and livelihoods of millions of Canadians who own TELUS shares. This includes seniors who rely on our dividends for their outcomes and as well for their incomes that they make that support their lives. And of course, it includes our TELUS team members who collectively represent our fourth largest shareholder overall. Clearly, the telecom industry is delivering enhanced value and lower prices for Canadians, and it is playing a vital role in strengthening our nation's economy. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Je retournerai.
Thank you. We're now going to go back to Mr. Staffieri for 5 minutes.
Morning, committee members. Thank you for the invitation today. With me is Phil Hartling, President of our Wireless Division. I've been following the work of this committee and pleased to provide facts and correct some inaccurate assumptions. Affordability is an issue in Canada, one that is real and felt by many Canadians. Other industries are using Canada's inflation trend to offer Canadians the same or less at higher prices. Rogers is doing the exact opposite. We're lowering our prices and offering Canadians more. Companies in other sectors simply can't say the same. I believe our discussion today needs to be based on facts. And here are some of them. Our wireless network reaches 99% of the population, but only covers 12% of our landmass. We're investing in satellite to mobile technology to connect every corner of our country. Our internet footprint reaches 60% of households today. We're investing to reach every household. In the last decade alone, Rogers has invested over $40 billion in our networks. To put this into context, that's more than the federal government's $39 billion in announced funding commitments for Canada's national housing strategy. Just last year, that included investing over $1 billion just to manage the huge increase in wireless data usage. Every year, we reinvest 90%